All right, really good day for our first scrimmage. Obviously, the weather cooperated. That's always a big not of concern this time of year, but we had a great day. Got about 90 plays in, and I think your first observation is it looked like football, and we blocked, we tackled, made some plays. Yeah, I think one thing that walking up the field that stands out is I thought we threw the ball well, in particular with Tommy and then Jordan Reed. On the other end of those throws, Taco had a couple big plays. McCullough, I know, had a couple, if I remember correctly. I thought defensively, while we gave up some of those passes, did pretty well against the run. And situationally, it'd be interesting how it played out. It would seem like it leaned a little bit more like third down wise to the defense, red zone wise. Defense came up with some stops, so great opportunity for a lot of our guys to get a ton of reps and be out in the field where your coach isn't in your ear necessarily every play. You got to bounce back from one play to the next, and a lot of guys got a chance to do that today, and it'll be great film to evaluate.
What specifically did Tommy and Jordan do well?
I think we got the ball down the field a little bit. In standing in the pocket. I think for Tommy as he goes through spring and he's not live, that's an emphasis to obviously not take off and run. And I think his pocket awareness, ability to hang in there, is continuing to improve. We're doing a lot of things to work on that. But the long touchdown to Taco was a play that he stood in there until kind of the last moment, got the ball out, and then I think both of them really delivered the ball on the money. And I'm talking a handful of plays, but some impressive throws by both of them.
Does Tommy's arm look stronger this spring to you?
Well, I think he's healthy. He was banged up pretty good early part of last season, and whether he ever really got back to full strength throwing, I think he had to adapt a little bit, and he did. I think he probably threw as well as any time during the season at the tail end of the season last year, and even the cold and Brookings. So I think he's healthy, and he continues to work on fundamentally all his mechanics, and yeah, he looks real good right now.
Defensively, I know you kind of mentioned run stopping, but what kind of stood out on that side of the ball?
Yeah, it's today's a day defensively where it's probably remiss to even throw names out at this point, but I know we got to play together on that side of the football. We got to sacrifice, play your gap, all that stuff. And I thought a lot of runs were bottled up, and that's because the guys up front are doing their job. The second level guys, linebackers, safeties are filling in the right positions, and that's with a lot of guys who probably haven't played a lot on Saturdays out there. We certainly have some really good returners, but on defense, it's so much about the guys that haven't seen the film that will continue to fortify our depth, that will challenge for starting positions. And linebacker wise, McCade O'Reilly, Neil Daly, Jace Fitzgerald are the guys that really stick out. It's just those are the types of guys that need to show up and have big days today. I know at the safety position, Rylan Ort continues to bring his game along, but who's going to play behind him? At the nickel position, a big day for Caden and Lavelle, Caden Dowler and Lavelle Price to show what they can do. Drew Polidor, Tyson Potger. So, it's a lot of names I just rattled off that haven't been key defensive players necessarily, but they've been in special teams. They've been on special teams. They've made plays in the games. And, their transition this spring is a big deal for us as we move forward.
You mentioned Ty on offense. How did he and Junior kind of look in an offensive scrimmage setting?
Yeah, I think their improvement over 3 weeks, their comfortability in our offense, I think continues to show. Both are very smooth athletes. They're different, and Ty getting, I think, behind the defense once is kind of what I think he brings to the table. A lot of speed. Junior's going to play more inside probably for us, but a big, elusive, crafty receiver that has really good hands. So, I think their progress on a daily basis is evident, and that's obviously big for us moving forward.
Oh, good.
Well, we obviously didn't get to talk to you after Pro Day on Wednesday. I just thought, your thoughts on how they performed, but specifically Ty. I think I wouldn't say he surprised all of us, but he did well.
Well, really proud of those guys, because this is an unheralded group. There's not a one of them that played in an all-star game, so they haven't had that exposure to this point. So their chips are all in on pro day. It's not like they have an all-star game, the combine, whatever. I mean, they had pro day and they worked really hard for it. And like Ty to become a bona fide guy, to be a late round consideration, an absolute undrafted free agent, he needed that day and he went and got it. I think Callahan and James too, same thing. The numbers that Callahan put up, I think validate who he is as a player. I think his film is really good, and he needed to have those physical numbers that he put up on Wednesday. And James, James has had an off and on health situation the last couple of years, so um, his film at times has looked really good, and at times he's just been battling through. And now he's healthy, and he really lit it up on Wednesday as well. So I'd imagine those three guys are going to get you know beyond strong consideration come the end of the month here.
And then I don't know if we've had like a formal statement yet. I was wondering if you could say anything about Jimmy Beal.
Yeah, for sure. Really, anytime you transition, you're you're moving away from a coach that's brought a lot to the program. Jimmy was here a year prior to me getting the job. Really appreciated his efforts the 2 years, and obviously we've been productive at that position. Jimmy's a great human being. Does a great job on the recruiting side. Is great with the players. And that's I think why a program like San Diego State would not only take a look at him but ultimately hire him. We'll make a formal official release on his replacement coming up very soon. We need to keep moving forward, but certainly wish Jimmy well.
And the other coach you lost, Brian Armstrong, I see is here. Obviously, his son on the team, but I guess just thoughts on losing him. I don't know if we talked to you about that since he left too, and just your thoughts on his contribution.
Yeah, it was good to see Brian this week. They're on spring break, kind of in the middle of their spring ball. I think you look at our 2 years, we've had 5 guys move on to the Mountain West. So it's a credit to those individuals for sure. And Brian's work here, I think, in all facets has been excellent. In my 2 years, what he did with, having an experienced group and then having to turn that over and the success we had last year, a lot of credit goes to him. He was extremely valuable to me as a guy that had been here on staff 5 years prior to me getting the job, as a guy from Montana, as a guy that's been a head coach before. So indebted to both guys, and excited for the opportunities. Good or bad, right or wrong, those Mountain West opportunities look a little bit different than a Big Sky opportunity, and obviously we saw that with Danny yesterday. It's reality, and happy for those guys because Brian landing at Fresno and Jimmy landing at San Diego State, those are 2 excellent programs. Having been in the Mountain West for 7 years, those are places where they get a chance to coach really good players, and win a lot of football games. So wish them the best.
What are some of the key differences between the new guy Bullock and McCade?
Well, you said it right there. Bullock's the new guy, So while McCade's got 2 years plus now in this defense to have learned it and made all the mistakes. Cole is starting from scratch now, and I think physically, their stature's fairly similar. I think their movement is fairly similar. But right now, McCade's leg up with his experience, and you learn by doing in anything you do. And in particular, I think within football and in our schemes, reps are so invaluable. So McCade is built upon all the reps and the experience that he's had, and we trust Cole will as well. And I'm sure for him it can't happen fast enough, but the experience he'll lay down this spring will set the bar for him, and then he'll feel much different about things as we go into fall camp. So no, we're excited to have Cole. It's it's a mountain to climb, and that's why you want to have him here in spring. That's why you don't want to bring in transfers as much as you can help it in the summer. So.